This latest adventure with Tammy Fellers was a slam dunk. Stay tuned for this episode so you can find out exactly why we make that reference.
So check it out.
I'm Jaime Howard, and I'm here with Tammy Fellers, our newest professional learning team director here at ESSDACK. Tammy, you've recently started the newest role. You've been the assistant director of professional learning. Now you've taken over the role as director of professional learning for the organization. What are some things that you've learned since taking over the role?
Some things that I've learned. Weather impacts my role a lot. It's just interesting. When I was a consultant, you just pre-planned, you were in touch with a superintendent, but since I've been here, we've had several weather incidents already this school year, or since January 1st, that I'm like, oh, okay. And at ESSDACK, there's more than one superintendent you're working with. When it comes to a workshop, there's several. And so it's just kind of been an interesting piece that as a consultant, I didn't think about those things. I didn't deal with that piece of it. And so I thought, wow, welcome to Director of Professional Learning in bad weather.
Yes, well, you came on in the winter time, so
absolutely.
It happened at an odd time. What have been your favorite roles so far? What have been your favorite tasks that are new to you?
Oh, that are new to me. Oh, that's going to be hard, Jaime, because some of them I made a silly joke about the weather. Those are some new tasks to me. I think my favorite role that might be different is before I didn't really have the opportunity to watch teammates present or be a part of that. And so I think it's just fun to, in prior, I was worried about my presentations and me, providing learning for others. And not that I didn't care about my teammates, but I didn't really have that opportunity to just go and listen. And so in this role, I get the opportunity to kind of go with them or experience what they're experiencing, but through a different set of glasses, I guess you would say, kind of a different pair of lenses. And so that's been fun to really get to know the ins and outs of my teammates differently.
Well, that's one thing I've noticed is there's an increased connectedness to each one of the consultants within your team because you're still on the team, you're still presenting, you're still doing those things, but you've taken a different role with them, and knowing what each one of them doing is taken an even deeper level of understanding.
That's one of my favorite pieces about this role and was really important to me, and I don't think ESSDACK would have wanted it any other way. As I said, I don't want to leave behind anything that I'm doing. So I'm still an active member of the Inspired Leadership Team. In fact, on Friday, I was in Thursday and Friday, I was in a district for 2 days doing day 1 and 2 of our Inspired Leadership Workshop. I still get to be a facilitator for the 4 disciplines of execution, as well as I can never leave behind my original background of math and still get to work with Renee on small group learning stations. And yes, I have taken less of a role in that area as far as really outworking and coaching in districts around mathematics, but I get to still be on that creative side and highly involved in the workshops here at ESSDACK. So I'm glad that none of those things had to change for me, and I still get to participate in those.
Why did you go into teaching to begin with?
It's something I've wanted to do forever. I clearly remember in the 2nd grade I was going to be a teacher, and I think I can remember it so clearly. When I was in the 2nd grade is when my mom finished her teaching degree. Both my parents are educators. My dad was an elementary principal for 35 years. My mom and dad met in college. My dad was a little bit older. She didn't finish, which kind of was the thing of the day.
It was.
And she got married. And so then when we were in school, Mom went back and finished her teaching degree. And so my mom, I remember she was doing her student teaching when I was in the 2nd grade. And so I had the opportunity to go in, after school to her classroom. And it was her classroom. And yeah, my dad had a whole school full of classrooms, but they weren't his. And so I couldn't go in those after school, and I would write on the chalkboard and just remember I wanted to be a teacher. And of course, I think both my parents were really able to foster that because that was their passion as well. So I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I don't think I ever thought at that point, like, do I want to be in elementary or a middle school or anything like that. It was just I wanted to be a teacher.
And so you went into college to be a teacher. You played sports along the way. When you became a teacher, you had coaching roles, and then into that you developed into a principal, and then you came to ESSDACK and have had multiple roles. You moved back into the coaching role, but it's different this time.
Oh, absolutely. I got the opportunity to play college athletics and help pay for my college, which was instrumental. And I think that that might be some of the most important things that I did, because I think it really helped build my confidence. And I happened to be the captain of a very successful team, and I was the team leader. I was the only one who was a senior my senior year. And I can just look back and see how that has shaped me along the way, or helped shape me along the way. So that was very instrumental. And of course, then when I first started teaching, I was single and had played and coached several sports. And I think that when that happens and you're female, there aren't enough coaches. And so I started, I coached 3 sports. I coached fall, winter, spring, and did that. And that changed a little bit when I got married, and I backed off and just was a basketball coach and only coached 1 season because I wanted to do that. And so yes, I was a coach, a different kind of coach. I feel like some similarities and some differences to the type of coaching that I do now. You know, now as a professional certified coach, I still have the opportunity to empower people. The difference is it's about their agenda and not mine. Where when I was the coach of the girls basketball team, it was pretty much my agenda and the way I saw it.
Yes.
And the way I felt like we should be doing our X's and O's. And now as a certified professional coach, I get to help you, or help, you know, the person that I'm working with really strive to reach their goals and get to be that person who is not in the pot with them, to be able to have a set of eyes to help them kind of uncover and see obstacles as well as opportunities that to help them reach their goals.
And you're still doing that. You do that on a regular basis with districts, with people on your team, with people outside your team. What do you see that, how do you see that impacting?
One of my favorite pieces about inspired leadership is, you know, I just talked about reaching our goals, but really that's a byproduct of what we do. It's not the reason we do it. As we think about what is inspired leadership, what is the mission of inspired leadership? It's helping people uncover barriers so they can be their true authentic self. And there are so many times that we have internal barriers that get in our way of reaching our goals, whether that's thoughts and stories we're telling in our mind that are not true, or it's fears that we're letting stop us because, like, I think all of us can relate to that fear of making a mistake. We want to be a perfectionist. We think we should do it perfect the first time, and that's not reality. And so sometimes that stops us. I don't want to make a mistake, so I'm not going to do it. It could be our judgments that are getting in the way. And so I really enjoy helping people uncover and just have that sense of release. All those things are still going to happen, but do I have a strategy to deal with that stress differently as I move forward? And so I think the most rewarding piece about inspired leadership is that piece of personal growth for people. People just experiencing what they're experiencing and having a method to deal with that.
Well, I know we've gone through inspired leadership, and I know it's changed me, how I process, how I know exactly what level I'm at. And I saw myself early last week being stuck. I was stuck in level 1 and 2. I'm like, this isn't me. This is not me. This isn't where I like to be. And so I actually requested a coaching session, and I'm like, I need to more skills. I need to know where I can turn, where I can go, and with you and with Rachel and with Tamara, I feel like we have such it's a huge piece of our culture that you have created, and being a professional learning team leader, you have such a core piece in that, and it's so important to ESSDACK, to an organization, to a school.
Absolutely. And Jamie, you said something interesting there. You said it wasn't me. One of the things we really want people to know is emotions are real and they happen.
Yes.
I'm going to be frustrated. I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be worried. Those are all things that are going to happen to all of us. One of the things we do, I think, in our society today is beat ourselves up over those ones we deem negative. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't be upset. I shouldn't let this upset me. I shouldn't be frustrated by this.
Just something stupid. Really?
Right. The reality is, though, you are frustrated. So instead of beating ourselves up and adding to that stress, let's deal with it. And so finding ways to manage that stress, deal with that stress, not bury it deep inside of us to then explode later.
Which can sometimes happen.
Absolutely. So it's not about that. It's finding those skills so that, like you said, I call it the feeling of satisfaction. Mm-hmm. It didn't feel the way you wanted it to feel.
No, and I wanted a different result.
And you wanted a different result, and you wanted to find a way to deal with that. And so I think having a coach can really help in that process, as well as we can learn our own skills. I coach myself often, and sometimes I need somebody else to do it.
Fellers?
Yes, I might call myself by my last name when I'm coaching myself. I don't know why that is.
Where do you see yourself in, let's say, 6 months? What are your goals with Professional Learning Team Lead, with Inspired Leadership, with the two together?
Well, my goal is to still be actively working in districts with Inspired Leadership. I think as we head down the road of the Kansans Can vision and meeting the needs of the individual students and creating successful students post-graduation, as I think about that and what it takes for a school district to truly redesign, to be able to do that differently, Inspired Leadership is going to play an active role, because I think we can get caught up in our head and our thought process and keep us from taking risks, which aren't really risks. They're just trying something new. We've put the risk label on. So my goal in the next 6 months is to be in even that many more school districts with Inspired Leadership, helping people have, if you will, a schema or a thought process to change, and building that value and buy-in to the process, and helping people to understand that I have a choice how I show up to that. I can show up a victim that's forced to do this by either my principal or my superintendent or by KSTE, or I can have the choice to say, hey, I want to make a difference here and make a change. Doesn't mean it's all going to be roses and rainbows. Let's engage in the journey. That's my tagline, and it may be silly, engaging in the journey. Let's just engage in the journey. Don't let the journey pass you by. Don't let somebody else drive your car.
No, I kind of like that.
That's my new thing, James. Are you driving your own car? Or are you letting somebody else drive your car? Or did you jump on the train and just wherever it takes you, takes you?
Thank you for joining us today for Talking Adventure. We'll visit again with Tammy Fellers in a few months, and we'll see where the Kansas Can vision is taking the state.
Thanks for having me, Jamie.